Hello and welcome to Live in Vibrancy. My name is Liv, and today we're going to be talking about emotion-based progress. What I mean by that is a lot of the times we don't reach our goals because we're basing it off of how we might feel that day or how things are going in our lives, and we allow those experiences to limit how we show up for ourselves and for the things that we set out to do. I personally have struggled with this in the past. On and off, it would either be I would be so driven to get stuff done to the point where I would neglect what was important in my day-to-day, or I would be so focused on my day-to-day that I would kind of neglect my emotions. And I feel like now I've finally gotten to a good place in life where I'm able to have balance, because I've been able to sustain a beautiful level of stability. Glory to God for that. But okay, so a few different ways that this shows up from what I've noticed is someone will have all the ambitions in the world, right? They'll have the ideas of how they want to experience things or how they want things to go, and then the outcome. But then they end up limiting themselves because they don't necessarily know how to start, right? Because I do apologize for any noises, but they haven't been that person before, right? So they don't necessarily know where to start. So the idea of doing this thing seems bigger than them and bigger than what they feel like they could sustain. So then they just don't end up doing it, and they just kind of forget about what they initially dreamt of doing, and they focus on their 9 to 5, which is more, I guess, how can I put it? It's like shrinking yourself. It's pretty much telling yourself that you're not capable of experiencing that, so I'm just going to settle for less than what I deserve because it's convenient. And that's not a life to live. We're not going to experience this life ever again. This is it. So with that and with knowing that, a lot of people from videos I've seen, people that have worked in the industry of helping people transition that are in hospice or situations like that where like they're just kind of at their last bits of life, if you will, not to get morbid or anything, but they're at that last bit, and some of their regrets are just not taking that leap of faith and not doing more with their lives and not actually accomplishing their goals and going on that trip or talking to that person or having that experience just for the sake of having the experience and freeing yourself from the bondage of the limitations that you've put in your head, that you can't experience these things. Because another thing that I've realized is a lot of the times people will limit themselves from accomplishing or even going after their goals because of their environment and what they've been surrounded by, what they've seen other people do or not do. Sometimes people come from a family that isn't, on that journey or that haven't accomplished things that they're trying to get to, and they're only able to get advice from them based on how much that person has experienced, right? You ask someone that has worked the same job for 20 years how to be a millionaire, and they've only seen the same check that whole time, they're not going to be able to tell you too much about millionaire status, okay? Or how to build wealth and how to sustain a family business or whatever the case is. So now we're going to get into some of the steps that I personally have taken and that I plan on taking or feel like would be helpful for people to take to be able to obtain what they want out of life. So one of those things is to write out a plan, and write it out in a way where it's like, okay, I can do these little baby steps every day, and that'll gradually lead up to what I'm trying to get to, or I could add more over time to that once I sustain a good routine. So once you do that, then you're kind of becoming that person slowly but surely. Like, you kind of gotta be a little delusional, okay? You go into this with a certain mindset of looking at your environment and being like, oh my gosh, this is not possible, like I can't, then chances are that's what's gonna happen, as a man thinks in his mind, so is he. So whatever you think, it becomes your reality, unfortunately. That's just kind of how things have seemed to work, from my experience personally. But once you build those habits, right, you're building that trust with yourself, and you're showing yourself like, hey, you know what, maybe I can do this, maybe this isn't as hard as I thought. And then it's like a domino effect, but you have to keep going, which is the second tip that I want to give. Look at consistency as keeping a promise to yourself and reminding yourself that you're worthy, versus it being a chore or it just being tedious and just not a fun experience. If you're doing something that you genuinely don't like, then yeah, it's not gonna, it's not gonna feel good. And chances are that's not what you need to be putting your time and energy into. But if it's something that you know that you're called to do and it's your purpose and you do feel fulfilled when you do it, maybe it's just, for me, for example, I struggled with the act of actually sitting down and doing it. But once I'm in the moment, I'm able to, do what I have to do, and then everything goes exactly how it's supposed to. So if you're one of those people, then I would dig deep as to why you feel those emotions towards that thing. Why do you feel like it's tedious? Why do you feel like it's too much? Why do you feel like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it? Or what is it about the experience that sparks that procrastination? Is it the limiting beliefs of you feeling like you're not going to be successful? Is it the lack of instant gratification that you're not receiving from the experience? Because everything takes work. But it's about your perspective of if you see it as work or not. For example, for me, this is something that I genuinely enjoy. I enjoy sitting here and talking to people and sharing experiences, and then also helping other people through my experiences that I've had. So it's not necessarily a chore for me or a job. This would actually be like a dream if, it was something that I was able to sustain for a long period of time. So it starts with starting, though. You have to start somewhere, and that gets to the next point, which is you don't have to have it all together to start. That again is something that I had to remind myself, is that everything that you have is everything that you need. So if you're starting, say you want to become a content creator, right? Because you see all these people and they're just sparking your inspiration from scrolling, and you're like, okay, it doesn't look too bad, maybe I could do it, right? So then you end up starting and you're like, oh, but my quality doesn't look good as theirs, or I live with my mom and she's loud and my siblings are running around and it's just not a productive environment. In the world that we live in now, people live for stuff like that. People love stuff like that, where they're able to see your life because it's relatable to them. They're able to be like, you know what? This person's able to do it. Why can't I do it? And that just starts a domino effect in somebody else's life because you took that leap of faith. and because you believed in yourself enough to do it and not look at it from the perspective of less than, or look at yourself from a perspective of less than, right? So another thing that I want to close out with, because I don't want this to be too long, whenever your limiting beliefs pop up in your head, I want you to try to add a positive thing on top of that, right? So say, for example, you're thinking in your head, okay, I'm about to start today. You know, I have my plan, I have everything I need, whatever. And then once you get close to starting, it's the doubt in the back of your head of, oh, I can't do it. It's not going to go well. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to care. Blah, blah, blah. Change that perspective and be like, at least I'm starting. The right people will find me. The right people will receive the message that is necessary for them to receive. I am inspiring others by my own personal growth and my own personal experiences. I am more than capable of accomplishing everything that I want to do. Even if you don't feel like that in that moment, I promise you, if you tell yourself this over and over and maybe like writing affirmations or journaling or anything like that, that meditation or something that just really gets you to see yourself differently over time. And once you take in all of that positivity and all of the love and focusing on the positive stuff that's happening around you, that you have no choice but to see the world differently. If you still see the world the same, well, I don't know, maybe, try some therapy or something. But yeah, you have to start somewhere, and trusting the process, and also trusting the fact that you're going to learn about yourself on a different level just by starting, because you're gonna see what you're capable of. You're gonna see how to troubleshoot issues whenever they pop up, because there's gonna be good days and bad days with your journey, but that shouldn't stop you from starting. That shouldn't stop you from continuing. So yeah, I hope that you got something from this. I hope that you are able to slowly but surely start your journey. Take your time, don't rush, but at the same time, put the best foot forward and at least get it started. So, yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.